In a world where Africans have lost their roots, it has become of vital importance to document our ways. In an effort to reverse the brainwashing of the past, where we were made to believe our ways are demonic, we are pressed to create dignified and respectful platforms to unpack our spiritual ways.
Oh, hi guys. Good morning. Good morning. Fridays are for artists, where we have to discuss issues affecting the arts. We have to start focusing on administrative issues as artists because we're getting heavily exploited by people who have actually got zero experience in the arts. So now we're getting into an era where the education that we supposedly got is going to have to start mattering so that it impacts future generations. So obviously in the past, when there was a language barrier, contracts in the music industry could be however that the exploiter wanted them to be, right? Sorry about that, but yeah, let's hang it there. So there were these unfair contracts that were created, which as a result, I hope I'm not, but was out good. Like it's just, but was out good. Where as a result, we're starting to see the fruits of those contracts where artists are dying broke, big artists where there's no money. However, the people who control the industry and those artists end up with the money. We've seen many examples happen like that. In our Black community, we've also seen how our Black record label executives will just photocopy the same blueprint that exploits Africans and then does the same thing to, so the cycle continues. So hopefully we are now reaching an era where we can now go into the black and white of what was written in those contracts, one of which was the collecting societies, right? If you've been following the Samro story, you know that there is dirt bubbling under there. You've seen members have been quite unhappy with the leadership and the board members of Samro. So it's been quite a long journey. I mean, for me personally, I think that the danger with Samro is that we have not gotten rid of the people that have stolen, and we haven't. So if you were implicated in anything that, whether it was Dubai or whatever that report says, everybody should be gone, and especially the leader. It's deep. So there've been rumors circulating about the CEO. Personally, I don't think that she should be holding that position because too many things happened under her watch. The other night, I was confronted by one of the board members that got removed for benefiting from artist money. And she actually confronted me and she didn't understand, Guti, what's the big deal? She was like, no, but that was Annabelle's decision. Annabelle said I could have the money. So we also don't need a CEO that's just going to be Father Christmas with artist money for her friends. You understand? So the fact that I got confronted means that she herself, because she was never held accountable, doesn't understand why it's a bad thing that she got her launch funded by artist royalties. And for people who might be on her camp and don't understand also, please understand that the royalties of artists are not for everybody. They're for those artists to benefit. So when people go to work and create music, it's for themselves and to secure themselves and economics, to improve their own economics. So now when people use somebody else's work to empower themselves, there's something very, 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 very wrong, guys. So what we're having is a situation where the songwriters make music and SABC pays and they collect all the money, but the songwriters and composers don't get that money. Instead, the CEO can decide to fund whatever she wants. And I think that's wrong. Like, I'm just like, why could nobody see that that was wrong? And why has nobody held accountable? So everybody who has been implicated in these reports have just gone off. There's a guy called David Alexander who used to have Share Publishing. Guys. But he has been, nothing has ever happened to him. Like, he's left the country, nothing happened to him. So, and one of the board members, well, now the chairperson, now he's been kicked out, but he wasn't held accountable for making decisions that that affected the arts, that affected the musicians and affected our money. So the issue with Samro is that there is no accountability culture in Samro, and the people who are putting their hands in the cookie jar, some of them are still in the cookie jar, some of them, yeah, and they haven't been fired. So there seems to be like I don't know, a loggerhead between members and the leaders at Samro, because it's not fair. It's not fair. So we have Owen on this morning. Owen Lobo always comes on to just unpack what's happened. If you haven't been watching the Samro episodes before, please just go check. But he's been on the journey very actively in the front. I'm just making sure that he's ready with his camera, but yeah, now he's ready. He's been in the front, so he's going to give us exactly what's happened, how everything started, what the issues are, what has happened. I mean, sure, like, there's even a team that has been behind everything. And I think also what was a little bit off is that the latest communications with Samro is that they now are having this MOI. They're voting a board to look into the MOI. But what's so disingenuous about that is that started on this platform. A group of artists who were here going through the MOI, and now Samro went and pretended as if it's them who came up with it, which also then creates a distrust to be like, now I'm scared, Gucci, who are they going to put in this MOI team now? Because now they've usurped the idea, and it's not supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be an independent process from outside of Samro. So anyways, let me bring on Mr. Owen Lovu. Thank you, as usual, for always making time for us.
We try. Good morning, Ms. Mazoya, and good morning to the followers and all the viewers of this show. Thank you very much for holding it on.
Thank you. So, CP, I mean, we what's happening at Samro? We are seeing communications from Samro saying that the CEO is still the CEO, but when we look in the social media, there's stories that there was some meeting that happened and she was verbally dismissed, or some drama or something. And also, please, can you also disclaim, Maguti, everything that you're saying is true. I'm not involved or whatever. I don't know anything, but you are going to speak honestly, and yeah, Indaba zakho.
I'm taking full responsibility on being on this show, and everything I say shouldn't be put onto you or the show. It should be put onto me. Yes, Annabelle was fired at Samro. There was a meeting on the 4th where the board members, where this motion was raised, and nobody objected to it. And then on the 18th of February, one of the board members, Dan Kosi, we know him as a Kanda, fired Nsigi. I heard people saying this is propaganda 101. The problem with the industry, Ms. Mazwa, is one. People just talk for the sake of talking, even if they don't know, even if they don't have facts. You don't have to talk. If you don't have facts, do exactly like what Ms. Mazwai is doing. Call and confirm. Don't say this is not true, this is propaganda, when you haven't given the very same people an opportunity to tell you if it's true. So we've got a problem with populists in our industry. That is why we're delaying things. So to be quite honest, I was in court yesterday with Annabelle, and I did raise this matter in court, and Kanda Denkosi has been subpoenaed to appear in court so that he can confirm this. So this case is going straight to court because of the reason here is simple, Ms. Mazwai. You've got publishers that were legally removed on the 10th of July that are still in Samro taking decisions. Now we cannot go on like that. We can't. And we've got our people, our members that are buying into this. So I don't know how you negotiate with the criminals. You were there, Ms. Mazwai, in the last AGM 11 and 12 December, where we said we cannot vote with the criminals. We did say this. It's in the videos, it's everywhere. How now our people sleeping with the criminal? Now, this is the thing, Ms. Mazwai. We reject the MOI that Samro has put up as AU. We reject it for a simple reason. We don't want an MOI to be discussed now. It's such a complicated document. Nomsa Mazwai started an educational process teaching us about this MOI. I think when she ended, it was only 14, somewhere there. There's still a long way for Nomsa Mazwai to take teaching us about this thing. Now, we cannot just take this thing as a 3-month thing. Nomsa and the team must take 1 year discussing this thing. So the whole of 2026, we wanted all these guys to educate us, go province to province. We agreed already with this with Samro, but they're blowing hot and cold. On the 14th of August, Mr. Zai, 2025, we agreed with Annabelle to say, Annabelle, we cannot start the MOI until we have a tour. And Nomsa and somebody else, I can't remember, were mentioned to take us on this tour. Now, subsequent to that, on the 11th and 12th of December, we then had something called, we had an AGM. In that AGM, I don't know why, in that AGM, Ms. Mazwai, we then agreed that we're going to have 6 pointers that Samro is going to look at. If you remember, now in December 11 and 12, we talked of this, and Mr. Terry Tilane was the one running the process. And we agreed, one of those 6 pointers is MOI, governance, communication, IT, and investigations. So all these 6 are as equally important. And for us, Ms. Mazwai, to clean up Samro, we're going to do things the right way, or we don't have to do them. This is not a gig for people to go to the board and get some money. It's not a gig.
Yes.
It's so serious. We want to change. And this is about economic freedom. If Nomsa and other people don't get this thing right now, we must just forget about the industry until we die. Now, this is the thing. We're rejecting this MOI notice because we want Samro to have an interim board. In that board, we've got Nomsa Mazwai. That's the name I put there. In that board, we've got Yvonne Chaka Chaka. In that board, we've got Eugene from the parliament. In that board, there's Mdluli. In that board, we had Tsepo Mashia. We said, Samro, let's make about 10 interim people. We're going to bring 5 people from the industry, and you're going to bring your 5. We form an interim board that now will go and take us to these 6 task teams. One of them will be an MOI, and they'll also guide us in terms of how to move forward with all 6. Because of Ms. Mazwai, all 6 are as important. Now, we're going to be talking this investigation, the case is there of people that appear in the Fundisi report. And then we've got an MOI that is the biggest animal that has made sure that the artists remain poor, nothing is happening for them. And that thing needs a thorough. Then the guys in the board like Nomsa will have her team that now will focus on this task team. But she will already be a board member. Now, the way Samro wants to do it, they're just putting a wool in our face. They now putting this MOI to say, focus on the MOI. And then they continue doing what they do inside. No, we cannot allow that. We want Nomsa there. We want Yvonne there. We want everybody there. Then they can come and tell us what do they think should be a way forward. Now, that is the issue. Because once we allow the situation that Samro is creating, we will be shooting ourselves in the foot. So we're not rejecting the MOI because of we're saying, no, it's not that. We want the right people to pronounce on it. Because as we speak, Ms. Moswai, the broadcasters, they've said they're not going to give Samro money. They're not going to pay any money. They're owing Samro hundreds of millions because of the instability at Samro. Now, until there's stability at Samro, that's when they're going to put money. And they did say, Ms. Mazwai, that the only time we will know that there's stability now at Samro, we will have a press conference, a joint press conference, both the artists and the people from Samro phoning an interim board to say, now there's stability at Samro, we're ready to roll. Right now, Samro cannot even pass budgets. The task team that they're talking about, how are they going to even compensate for these people? Budgets are not passed. Number two, Ms. Mazwai, they still have to call an AGM that collapse. That's where this interim will be endorsed to say it's going, which is the 26th of March, and then the interim, and then from there we'll get to be instructed about how the task teams are going to work. So that's what we've been fighting for all the years. So we can't be fighting for, sorry to use the ANC, the loaf of bread, and we're getting crumbs. So we can't. We want our people there to guide us, to take over, to inspire confidence to the people that are funding and all the interested parties, because of Samro is such a big organization, is representing us all in Africa. So we want to make sure that people with experience are there, and we're not going to stop at nothing at that. So I will stop at that for now. But maybe just before I stop, Ms. Mazwai, look at how desperate we are showing to be as artists. And actually not desperate. We are showing that we are blind. We can see these things. Samro issues a list of the task team. 102 people are there. They're only looking for 4. Out of 100, the list that they issued is 102 people, 102 names that are there. But out of that 102, they're looking for only 4 people. Now, tell me then, subsequent to that, on the side of the publishers, they are looking for 4, and they issued 4. So which means that 4 is automatic, is already in the board. But we as composers, we're still going to be fighting 102 people fighting for 4 positions. That's crazy. That I can't believe artists, they expose themselves in such on stooping so low. 102 people, you're looking for 4 positions. Now, listen to the scenario, Ms. Mazwai. If the interim board of Nomsa, Yvonne, and everybody get in there, and they call for 6 task teams, which is the MOI, the investigation, communication, IT, social, all 6. Now, imagine if each task team has got 10 people. Already 60 people out of the 102 will be having the so-called gig then. But as we speak, only 4 people are wanted. That does not make sense. Let's not allow Samro to control. All the people that are there in Samro, except Denkosi, are illegal. Those people should be out there and out of that board. In fact, on the 18th of February, we took a march to Samro to go and eliminate them with the police. They ran away. They held a meeting online because of they are illegal. They cannot be there. All of them. The Samro's got no board. The board that runs Samro is outside, which is Eugene, Nomsa, Yvonne, Mdluli, and those are the people that are not in that board. Those are the people that we want. Until that happens, I'm not going to support anything. Sorry, Ms. Mazwai. I'll stop there for now.
You know what's so funny about what you're saying, especially when you said about the SABC saying, and you saying that there must be members and then Samro. The irony is that Samro is a member-based organization. So it was actually songwriters and composers coming together So even in the leadership, it should be the same body of people. It's not supposed to be some outside capitalist. That body of people is supposed to be the one that's fighting the capitalists for us to make sure that these record labels and these major publishing houses are not exploiting us, because that's actually what the problem is. The problem
Absolutely.
is the majors.
Absolutely, Ms. Mazwai. That is why we're saying, first of all, if your name appears in the Fundutsi report, don't bother. Don't bother to seek for either a seat in the task team or a seat interim. Don't bother. We are not playing games. We want the clean people. We want the experienced people. We want the Samro that people now will relate and respect. So if your name is in the Fundutsi, just forget about it. We know the record labels have got representatives. We're not saying we're chasing away record labels necessarily, but they must bring in new people because of those ones are bad. For an example, we've got so many problems at Samro, but we're not saying we're going to put a bomb in Samro, just like happens in the Ukraine, in America. We are saying the dirty ones out, we're putting the clean ones. So the record labels are saying the same. Sony, take the dirty ones, put the new one. Universal, do the same. Everybody does the same. Moreover, we want to see now the black publishing companies be in the board. We've got powerful black publishers in this country, but none of them, not even a single one, Ms. Mazwai sits in that board. And how did that happen? And how did we allow it? So let's put our differences aside. Let's put egos. And I know in this industry we are driven by egos and a lot of things, Ms. Mazwai, which is okay. But I think we can park that for now. I'll make a funny joke. And because of you've got a political background, you'll understand this. In the fight of Israel and Palestine, the UN will be talking and calling everybody and saying, hey, truce, okay? And then guess what, Ms. Mazwai? This is very funny. Then Israel will say, okay, we're going to stop bombing for 2 hours because of we want to allow the trucks to come and bring food. But after the 2 hours, we fight again. That's crazy, but it happens. So I'm saying to the artists, let's pack our weapons against one another for only these 16 days until we take everybody out on the 26th. Then you can hate Owen, then I can hate Ms. Mazwai. We can fight again. But let's take back and give everybody opportunity. We've got at least an opportunity of putting 60 people, 60, in Samro because of the task team and the interim board. So everybody's got to get a chance. Ms. Mazwai, it's time for academic freedom. We can't mess it up, but we want to do it the right way. Our artists are dying as paupers. We are embarrassed. We are the only ones. Players are not embarrassed in this way. It's only artists. Let's not be controlled by people that are out. Annabelle shouldn't be calling any shots at Samro. She is fired. She is fired. She shouldn't be writing a letter or anything like that. And also, you've got Mayegi, so that has got a report at Saika. She's fired. So they can't run. The only time they can run in is when we form an interim board and people say, okay, we want to make a transition between the old and the new. So let's take it from there. And then at least the members will know that this is an interim. And then in the AGM on the 26th of December, we're going to take everybody out to put a permanent board now that will be taking us through. So that is not difficult to do. That's not difficult to do. Like they say we can't throw a child with the bath water. So we're not going to do that. We're balancing the situations, but we know these people that are outside Samro can do so much justice if they are brought in. And we're not then going to be told by Samro that start a task team. No. People that are agreeing to this task team is because of they don't see things in a bigger scale. We've got 6 task teams to complete. 6, not 1. Now, why all of a sudden we are told by 1? They want us to change this MOI to suit them. And they're going to still force these people that will be there to say, drive this MOI in this format. I'm telling you, Ms. Mazwai, everybody that will be part of this task team won't do what they want. They'll be told what they do, and that thing will be remaining the status quo. And I'm saying it cannot happen. We want the interim board to be driving this MOI. Then I know it's going to be changed, it's going to be new, and it's going to be exactly what the artists are saying.
You know, as we have this conversation, I'm reminded by What's that award that the president gives to musicians? Ikalanga, Indoni?
Yes.
Yeah, the Award of Ikalanga.
Ikalanga. Yes.
So do you know that Pops Muhammad was given that award? And then, you know, obviously all his contributions, all his music, all his catalog. Where is Samro? Do you know that the family right now is struggling? Like the family has asked us to start raising funds for Pops's family. And I'm sorry, I'm just so taken aback by it, because how do you get the highest order by a president and have all this catalog? So it's times like this where you see that something is wrong at Samro, because when we invest our music and put it into the bank of Samro, over time, it's supposed to feed us for the rest of our lifetime and for as long as our music lives. And we are seeing now that here we have a musical icon that has passed away and now is dying a pauper because of the misadministration at Samro.
Miss Mazwai, as we speak, tell me if this makes sense. And I wonder why people are not saying this thing. Samro does not have a COO. There's no COO there. So who is doing operations? Members are not being paid there. Nothing is happening there because there is no COO. Tell me an organization that operates almost a year without a COO. West part, nobody's even acting. Now, once you put an interim board there, first of all, they're going to say, we need a COO to operate. Number two, let's implement task teams. Because as we speak, Ms. Mazwai, the biggest problem at Samro is paying artists, is systems. They don't even have a proper monitoring system as we speak. How do they even begin to identify the rightful owners of the money? The untalk that we're talking about is as a result of that they couldn't identify whose money is this. They don't have that system. No, they're not talking about it. So if you go in at Samro now, how are you going to be able now to operate yourself? You're going to fail the same. But if the interim board goes in there, they're going to bring in Paul there to say, continue what you're supposed to do. They're going to say, task teams, let's do these things. It's as simple as that. And Miss Mazwai, it pains me. We've been donating and contributing as artists for all our artists. That is said. And Samro is not coming anywhere. And this, Ms. Mazwai, what you're talking about, has been happening since 1961. But I can tell you now, if we put Nomsa there, because of she knows the pain, she's going to change this thing. If we put Yvonne there, because she knows the pain, she's going to change this thing. And why are we seeing that thing as difficult? That's the point I don't understand. We can't be fighting for the whole year and rush things now. No, who's pushing us there? He's got an agenda. So I am saying, please, people, support the initiative of the interim board. We've got the names. We're not even shy. We've got the names. We're not going to allow somebody that will come now and say, hey, I'm raising my hand. Where were you when we were fighting the whole year? Where were you? We know the people that have shown themselves. By the way, everybody else, including NOMSA, they didn't say that, no, we know this MOI. Everybody volunteered to say, let me show you what I can do. Now we know who can do what. It's easy. When we talk Mpo's name, we're not doing a favor. When we talk Nomsa's name, we're not doing a favor. When we talk Tsepo's name, we're not doing the favor. Because of they've shown what they're not populist. We know what they can do. Let's allow them to complete what they've started. And that is the only way to do forward. On the other hand, then the task team, another task team will be dealing with investigations. And those investigations will be making sure that those that stole money are brought to book. So, but there's no other way. There's no shortcut. We are so close now. We are in the 6th area. Let's compose ourselves. Let's collect ourselves. Let's make sure that we are removing these people and we are winning. Samro does not belong to Ms. Mazwai. Samro does not belong to Owen. It belongs to all of us. But at least we've been the closest in this process, to know exactly what is wrong there at Sam. We know. So allow us to finish. The names that we've mentioned, if anyone objects to it, I'm prepared, Mr. Ndao, to come to your show, and they must tell me why this name is not that, and I'll answer. Because of I have followed, I've been very close to study and understand these people. Among the team, we've engaged, we've checked that the team that we want to put at Samro, definitely confident is going to bring changes that we want. So we are saying to our people, let's come together, unite. We will collect, I'll contribute, Ms. Mazwai. You will tell me about the artists that we have to contribute. It's our life, we have to contribute. But the sad part is that 300 million is sitting there while we're contributing our 5,000 or 1,000 rands. It's crazy. It's crazy. The worst part is that they don't even know what to do with the 500,000 that's sitting there. They've got no plan for it, you know, and the plan is one, to finish it, and like they did with Fintu's report. But there's no plan to make sure that money says remember. And let me tell you, Ms. Mazwa, if you've got 300 million sitting there, if you don't know what to do with it, just get rid of this money, split it amongst the artists, amongst the members, because of as long as this money sits there, is attracting a lot of criminals. It's tempting. Get rid of it. Call us. Distribute this money to us equally. And there's no pot. And then there's nobody to worry about. And we start a new way. Because of it's still there. They're thinking about it because it's tempting.
Does Samro have a funeral plan for us?
Well, to be quite honest, Ms. Mazwai, that's a very important question. They do have. They give 25,000 every time the member dies. That's why they do have. But whether that is enough or not, I'm not sure. But Ms. Mazwai, hear me out. I understand the funeral thing. And there's this thing that we all know, that people like to talk about you and me when we are dead and say, Owen was doing this, Ms. Mazwai was doing that when we are dead, and that's funeral. So for me, I don't like to talk about funeral. Why can't Samro come with a medical scheme? Because of, let me tell you one thing. These are performing artists. They need energy. They get sick. How are you supporting them? If a player gets injured today, a Paris player or a Chiefs player, they get all the massages that you can think of. They go to powerful hospitals. You can't believe how fresh the players are, you know. But the artists, they perform every weekend. They're gigging every week, maybe 3 times a week. But where's the medical aid? When an artist gets sick, they lose the gigs because of you can't play. Let me tell the difference between artists and players. When an artist gets sick, they lose the gig. The gigs are cancelled. You lose money, 150,000. If you book 3 times a week, you're already losing about $1 million as an artist. But players, they get injured for 6 months and get paid. What is that? And I don't understand, why are we not pushing these things? We're busy looking at what Owen is doing. I don't care, Ms. Mazwai, what people think of me. I'm sure you don't care what people think. This is about the plight of the artist. We're trying to make sure that it's painful. You just said we must contribute now. Guess what? You and me will be doing this contribution. I've done it, I don't know how many times. And people will still have enough to say, but this and that. Forgetting the right issues. Let's go to Samro and say, Samro, we demand a medical aid, because of when the artists get sick, they don't have money to go to hospitals. Ms. Mazwai, I'm not going to say this in public, but when I meet you in personal for coffee, I will tell you, I have smuggled 2 artists from hospitals that were admitted, and the media was coming to expose them, to say, look at how bedridden they are. And I made sure that those artists are out of the hospital and take them to another hospital that's better, because of I didn't want those artists to be embarrassed. Now, how do we let Samro to get away with such a situation of not taking care of artists? Let me tell you one thing. Another most important thing, Ms. Mazwai, is this, and I want everybody to listen. People don't know, Ms. Mazwai, that we are not in an entertainment industry. We are in the rights business. And this industry is full of lawsuits. Ms. Mazwai, I know you're facing lawsuits. I'm facing lawsuits as well. You and me are the same. Because That's the nature of the industry. But we shouldn't be bothered by lawsuits. We should be having money every time a person launches a lawsuit. We are taking that money, we're supporting our own music legal aid to fight the record labels that are signing us for 10% when they take 90% of our works. We can't fight back because of we don't have legal support. Why are we not having that when Samro is dealing with our own, what we call rights? Does that make sense? No. So what people are talking about in the corridors as artists, I don't know. But they're not talking about these things. It's worrying.
It's very worrying. Oh, your best friend Debs is meant to join us, but his video is not showing. So I don't know what's happening because we were going to have the intellectual.
I'm sure you can let him in on an audio. We as long as we can hear his.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Debs, can you unmute yourself? There we go.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning. Yes,
good morning.
We can hear you.
I'm trying to. People must see how handsome I am. I'm trying to get my camera right here. Hi.
No, forget it, Tebo. You're not as handsome as me. Forget it.
No, we're not yellow bone. So Naki, black is beautiful. I'm the chocolate. I'm the chocolate. Yeah. So no, nice, beautiful discussion, guys. Where's my video? Okay, there I go. Yeah, can you see me now?
Yeah, here you go. Hello, guys. We can see you now.
Yes, here's your chocolate. Here's your chocolate. I'm better than yellow bone. Mamelang, guys.
But I wish you had more lighting. You need more lighting.
More lighting.
So we
okay, let me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always about the lighting. Yeah. And if people knew, guys, these two men are always fighting, but now they come together with time for the fight.
Is it better?
Yeah, you look better, Debs, but don't worry. You're not going to be as light as me. That lighting is adequate for you. You're right.
Okay. As long as people can see me. Okay, no. Yeah. I've been listening. Sorry, I was driving. Sorry, I got in late. I was driving. But I've been listening. And what comes to mind when I got in, it's how long have we been here? Guys, the Samro struggle or the music struggle or the creative sector struggle comes a long way. Some people have even died now. I mean, I remember, I always pay tribute to the late Dr. Graham Gilfillan, who schooled me, who mentored me. What I do as an activist, I do in his honor because I actually made a pledge at his funeral. Dr. Luthuli was there. And those who don't know, Dr. Luthuli is a former partner to Dr. Graham Gilfillan. And I heard Kajeni say that everybody's illegal on the board except for Dr. Nkosi. What about Dr. Luthuli? Dr. Luthuli is not illegal on the board, Kajeni. So, but picking up from what you've been saying is that, and the reason I said this struggle has been long coming and has been long happening and ongoing. And at some point, we need to do something to get to a point of solutions. Okay, listen. My favorite is governance, is process, is legalities, and it's everything that happens the way it ought to be happening. So the reason I'm saying that I want to differ, Katene, in terms of the approach to say we have been fighting for the MOI to transform. Remember, guys, the MOI is like the constitution of Samro. It's like the constitution of the country. You can't come to parliament and say, I don't like certain rules, that when you disrupt parliament, you must be thrown out. It's a rule of parliament. So they will throw you out. Like, the Red Berets have an experience of that all the time because it's a rule. Up until it's changed and amended that if you differ and you disrupt, you are allowed to sit. It will continue to be like that. So in the same way, there's no transformation we're going to achieve at Samro up until we amend that document. So I'm saying we have an opportunity. Yes, I admit the process might not have gone the way that we expected it. Let me tell you my point of view. I expected that Uprateri, as a facilitator that Samro has confidence in, as an outsider, somebody who's not tainted with the politics and with the toxicity of the Samro politics, would have been the one given the powers to appoint. You know why? He would have been best suited because he engages with all key stakeholders. Loud mouths like myself, people that have been talking, Artists United, Bukacheni, and the key stakeholders, Tepon Zimande, who speaks for himself, even the differing views and opinions, Ayanda Hoda, and all of them. So, because of he's been engaging everyone, he would have been able to select the right people for the task team. It would have been much easier and not questionable in a way. So, but we are here. So the question is that we are here. What are we going to do about the opportunity? Are we going to, the horse has bolted, are we going to collapse the process? In whose interest is it going to be? That's the first question you must ask yourself. If it collapses, that process collapses, in whose interest is this going to be? Definitely not in the members' interest. It's not in our interest.
Okay, it's a question. It's a question. But it's a question. You want me to answer it?
No. I don't want you to answer it. No. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm still presenting.
Okay.
So it's not going to benefit members of Samro, and maybe, just maybe, okay, for those who suspect that the Samro board and the management is what you say, is not being fair or honest.
It's captured.
Maybe if you feel like that, then it means you're going to be playing in their hands. Think about it. You're going to be playing in their hands, and if the process collapses, it might benefit those who don't want change in there. And then, is that what you want? So I think this calls for decisive leadership. Absolutely decisive leadership. And I want to juxtapose this with the freedom of the fake freedom, or some freedom that we've attained, political freedom, which it is freedom, but we didn't use it. Unfortunately, we squandered it. Do you think that the National Party didn't want to wanted to let go of the country? No, they didn't. But the ANC at that point and the liberation movement had to focus and bring everyone together and reach some compromises for a way forward for the democratic dispensation that brought us the 1994 historic elections. So all I'm saying is that you've got to start from somewhere. You've got to start from somewhere. So if you have an opportunity to begin now, so let's not squander it because of that will be squandering it, because you're going to collapse the process, and what? We're back to square one. And Gacheni, I agree with you. Prater had proposed about 6 areas of change, but those 6 areas, the MOI amendment is one of them, and it's a very important one. It's actually, everything hinges on it. Right now, process is Samro still has a board. I differ look at Gacheni. Samro still has a board. I acknowledge you, Dr. Nkosi, Lutuli, as our colleagues, as part of the board, the very board that Gacheni said.
And who else? And who else? And who else?
And still chaired by the acting chair. Mamela, we may not like some people there, but there
no. It's not about liking. Illegality. Who else?
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that there is a board. Yeah, there is a board, and if there's going to be an interim board, there's a process for that. You see, what you could do is propose this at the meeting of the 26th.
Yes.
To say we have an interest, then members, and but also remember, already there's another process. I had to write last week on Friday to the COSAC to say we request that the task team issue be dealt with at the meeting of the 26th, because of when I checked the agenda for what we're going to be discussing at the special general meeting, I found that the task team is not one of them. And what is process, by the way, in terms of governance, in terms of the current MOI, it calls on you to put issues of discussion in advance so that they can be shared with members across the board, so that when you raise them at the meeting, people have had time to engage. Remember, Kateni, let me also remind you, mina nawe not Mashiane, as we were leading the revolution, and Abusis Messi, we went and disrupted the first MOI engagement attempt by Samro. Why? Because we said, one of the key reasons, don't you forget, was that because we never got time to engage with the document, which is a very big document. And on that basis, the CEO had to comply. So all I'm saying is that there are things that we may want to put into the agenda, but we still need to follow process. So I'm giving these examples to Uti, in as much as we want change now. This is a first step to that change that which we want. But if we disrupt, and disruption is good, I'm a disruptor. I don't mind disruption, but we also must disrupt by providing leadership, because of people are listening to us and they will come with a particular attitude at the meeting. We want Samro to move forward. So, Gaten, as I conclude this part, so that you can engage, right now we still have the CEO. Right now we still have the board, and all the other issues we can deal with. And I believe if we deal with the fundamental evil, that is the MOI, and it's in current format, we can be able to move forward. But lastly, the process, we support the process at IP Justice, I will tell you. And people like Mashiane, I believe, should be on part of the MOI task team. The man has got capabilities, he's got capacity to engage on that MOI, in fact, to lead it. But because of the process, Imshaile, he's not an associate, no, a full member. There's a way. It's not all and lost and doom and gloom. There's a way we can engage with him, those who are in the task team. And by the way, I may not even be part of the task team, because remember, it depends on the votes. So if I'm
not... Can I say something? This membership, full membership, associate membership, shaya, and they cook it. Because there are people who are not full members who have been on the board. It just depends on whether they want you on the board, if you're going to comply or not, which is the danger I gave. We've got that.
No, absolutely. I know there's a collapse in trust, but I'm saying my position and those who support my views, let's dare Samro in the process and take this first step of engaging the MOI and move with it, because I think we have a golden opportunity to amend the MOI, and I wouldn't want to be one of the people who wants to collapse it. Let me stop right there for now. I'll come back for round 2. Thank you so much.
Ms. Mazwai, can I just go direct with the disruptor here? Well, first of all, well done, disruptor, for the presentation. I'm going to start with the last one, where we already agree. Disruptor says, the issue of the task team must be dealt with. He said he wrote a letter to COSAC to say the issue of the task team must be dealt with on the 26th at the AGM. And I agree with you there, Disruptor. But who's going to deal with that issue? It's going to be the very same interim board that I'm proposing. So on the 26th, we will win 2 things. We will win the MOI as well as the interim. Nobody's going to lose. That is my proposal for now. But still on the floor, let me explain. The proposal of the AU is simple. Is interim board that will lead the process. In that process, the board, and I agree with you, Mashiane, we need him in that board. We need him. Because of his proven and NOMSA. For MOI, we know, like I was telling this Mazai earlier, that at least we have identified people. Nobody can come now as a Karaba Matichwana and all that and say, I want to be in the board to do what? You can be as famous as forever. What have you been doing for the whole year? Nothing. And I don't have to be a friend. I just have to tell you the truth. We've seen NOMSA, we've seen Mashian, we've seen Tebogo, we've seen Eugene, we've seen Tiki. We know the people that have been acting. Not now. Mabina Hutsulwa. Ushuru, when you're coming at the end, where were you? So I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about agreeing with you, Disruptor, that Mashian is one of them. And I'll show you why that process of Samro don't matter. So you've got an interim board that will lead the process, do the MOI systems, governance, comms, investigations, all these 6 pointers that Terry was talking about. Now, let me tell you what is happening. And then Disruptor, you said the house has bolted. It hasn't. You can't have criminals operating and telling us what to do. Let me tell you what happened. This task team that was issued, the notice, is illegal because of MOI does not accommodate such motion of the task team. It's illegal. The very same MOI that we want to use has already been breached by this call of notice. There is no way in the MOI say we can put an interim or we can put task teams. So when the board made that call, they were making it from what? It's illegal. That is why, Disruptor, when we go, you and me, on the 26th, we're going to put on an agenda. And you know this, Disruptor, you've done 40 times, whereby the agenda that Samro has said, you didn't have to even to write to the COSEC. You know that, Disruptor. On the day, whatever that is in the agenda, we adopt or disagree with the agenda. It's the members. They just make suggestions. So whatever agenda is there, we're going to say, we don't agree with this agenda. Put MOI task team there, put interim. We're going to tell them. And then we vote on that with our members. And then everybody wins. And you're right. Number 3, we're saying, the board, Disruptor, has issued a letter to say, we have appointed Terry Tsilane to lead this process. But Terry Tsilane does not even know about this task team. He's not anywhere, he's not involved, but he's appointed, he's been paid, he's been taking money. How do we operate? So on the 26th, Disruptor, we're going to propose one, Terry Tsilane takes over and run the process. Number 2, we put the motion of task team. Number 3, we say interim board and interim goes. Because let me tell you what we're trying to forget now, and we shouldn't forget. Before I give you an opportunity, Disruptor, we are not going to be seen like we are hypocrites. We are changing in our own ways. We just wrote to Samro to say, Samro, we can't go on with criminals. And we said that also at the AGM. Now, people seem now to be home and dry, and they even forgot about Impo. Now, how are we going to run this Samro that is running without a COO, and we're going to be part of it? What are we trying to do? We are showing the signs of desperation. We are showing the signs of hypocrisy. And we don't have a backbone. Because of if we've got a backbone, we're going to stick to it. So, Disruptor, your MOI, I'm not taking it away. It will be there. But that MOI will be passed by the new people. Let me tell you the scenario of the board. Now, you say Samro's got a board, and I'm saying Samro's got no board. Kanda is the only one that is not up for rotation. According to the MOI, which Samro is trying to change now, Lutuli is up for rotation. They said it, Maegiso, in that meeting. We've got a video where Maegiso said, you are up for the rotation. And remember, Maegiso and Lutuli ended up fighting. That's 1. 2, you've got 3 publishers that were legally removed on the 10th of July. And I want to emphasize this, Ms. Mazwai, so that you understand. Roland Maker, Miss Poole, and Ryan Hill. These 3 people were removed. We've got the transcript that I can give it to you if you don't have. That they were removed. Now, these people, it is then said that on the 29th of August, they were voted back. Now, let me tell you, those people, including Terry Tsilane, by the way, I'm going to say facts without fear or favor. I don't have a friend in the industry, we've got colleagues. That's why we're talking with Disruptor like this, because of, Nsigi, you put us together because of, we are robust one another, but we don't fight. We fight now and our fight is over, but we tell each other facts. Terry Tsilane attended the meeting on the 29th of August illegally. There's no person that is supposed to attend the meeting of the members. Why I'm saying it's illegal, guys, and hear me out. I'm going to be slow, Ms. Mazwai. Before the meeting starts, we check the credentials of the people attending the meeting and approve or disapprove. And if the credentials were checked before we start the meeting, how come Tsilane was part of the meeting? Because he was supposed to be rejected in the credentials. How come Roland Naker was part of the meeting because he was supposed to be rejected? Bull and everybody else. Samro did that correct illegally. I am telling you, Disruptor knows. We sign credentials, we get checked, we bring ITs and everything to be part so that they can see you eligible. You got to be associate member, full member. That didn't happen on the 29th. So those people were not even supposed to participate in that meeting because of the credentials were not allowing to be there, let alone the results of the 4 million and 5 million that was shown later. So that is why I'm saying there is no board because of the people that are participating in Samro are illegal. The 3 people, Maegiso, nothing has happened, but there's a case against him that was supposed to be decided because of Saika case is alive. It's true, Disruptor is not a propaganda that Annabelle was fired. I was in court. You joined late. I was in court yesterday with Annabelle. Ganda is being subpoenaed to court because of I raised the matter that Annabelle is not to be representing Samro because I was fired on the board and nobody objected. Lutuli didn't object when the motion was read. Tenkosi, so is Bull, Ryan Hill, and Naker together with Mayegi. So nobody objected. You know why? Let me tell you what you don't know. When Kanda say I'm firing Annabelle, the so-called board members that are sitting there illegally try to raise their hands, and Kanda showed them the Funduzi report to say you are mentioned, your names are in Funduzi report, and they dropped their heads down. So nobody objected the firing of Annabelle. So today, as we're sitting here on the 13th of Friday, the 13th, 2026, Annabelle is fired. I'm going to stop there.
Ms. Mazwai, can I come in? Guys, Mina, I don't want to find us as Samro members here. I remember Terry Tilani was there 7 years ago, when he was assisting the board that was led by Demnis. If we go on like this, you see, nobody, and please don't get me wrong, it's not about the backbone or something. It's about leadership. You know, when you lead people, sometimes you need to reach compromises even with yourself. If we take, you have got to compare your strategy. If we go the way Kachen is going and the way he's proposing, we are going to find ourselves here another 7 years later, because of and it will be beyond Annabelle. Annabelle, I think she's got 2 years to go in her contract. She won't be there. We fought with Samro before Annabelle came. We fought with Samro before this board. We've been fighting with each and every board from Nicholas Motsate. This fight was started Kibo Mzwake, Bu Eugene, and all of them. So we are going nowhere slowly. And this is what calls for strategy and tactics, as some would call it, those who come from the revolutionary movement. When you look at the strategy, it's got to work. And if the strategy like Codesa was to say, let's talk with the oppressor at that time, look where we are today. You don't have a situation where an African is discriminated legally based on the color of the skin. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. So I'm saying, Ntsegi, yes, we may have people having issues, but there is still process. I hear you to say these people have done this, have done that. We know, but at the end of the day, what's the point of removing people and then not following due process, and then they will be back again? So I think we have an opportunity with the AGMs, with the special AGM that is coming, to raise these matters. But let's have one thing in mind. When are we going to get to the finish line? Because we have not even started. We just scratched the surface with Samro. We still have to, I saw in the headline of other collecting societies in the same boat. So I don't want us to fool ourselves that the Samro board and its management don't have a defense. Because of, remember, I keep on saying this, we don't represent everybody. And we can't claim to be representing the views of everybody. And the moment we fall into that trap to think that our view is a popular view, we are making a big mistake. Because you will get there, then people oppose you. So rather, those who don't see things the way we do, leadership calls for you to bring them on board. And this is why I'm always prepared. Even Minano Kacheni, we can clash in this or that or that. When we come to the issues of discussing, I don't take things personal, and thank God he doesn't either. But I also will not also succumb myself to some a strategy that I know as a leader it will not work. And I think I think we need to Nakateni. See, for me, that task team process. I was thinking, sometimes you must think about why people are doing things like this. They probably thought they were protecting the process so that it's possible. It's possible. So
I agree. I agree. But
so they want everybody. Yes, they want everybody to have a fair chance. Fine. So our job now as leaders, we're supposed to say, Babum Glul is there, Debo Hostatu is there, those who are there. Let's mobilize the votes and make sure that by a power of the vote, these people that we know understand this thing, they've been dealing with this thing, are in there to guide it. I think that we must grab that opportunity.
Disruptor, here's my issue, disruptor.
And only disrupt maybe names like, I know that there's a publisher, 1 or 2, that is apparently associated with the sheer sound. So maybe that we can question and say, we don't want anybody tainted here. And then maybe we must replace that publisher with another publisher because we want the process that we will be able to own. Let me
disruptor. I don't know what you smoked this morning, but I think you smoked the right one. You didn't smoke the one from the hostel. I don't know where you got that one. No, because of you saying the right.
I prayed in tongues.
Listen, Ms. Mazwai, Disruptor wants the MOI. I agree. And we're going to give the MOI to Disruptor on the 26th, the MOI. But Disruptor, in that MOI, when Tsepo Mashiane is not part of it, I am against it, regardless. That is why we need an interim, because of once you put an interim, you minus now the MOI ruling that will say this one cannot be in, this one cannot be in. That is the significance of the interim board, because of the interim board won't use the MOI. The worst they can use is Companies Act, that's it. But you will be having an interim that will be free to change the rules on the spot. And MOI, then you'll have Tsepo there without being a member, full member, half member, associate, whatever the language. You'll have Nsigimazwai there, guaranteed. And then once Tsepo is there, once Nsigimazwai is there, Nomsamazwai, then you know that MOI will be fine. So I'm agreeing with you. Yes.
Yes. No, let me correct something also, because I don't want to be misquoted.
Okay.
I said there's a process, and I said Tsepo Mashiane is a necessity to be there. But unfortunately, the process that has been set.
What process? What process? What process?
Remember, the process of setting up the task team.
How? That's what I want to know. How was it set up?
No. So remember, it was set up by the board and the management. By the
board. How so? That's a problem. I've got a problem with the very same setup. I've got a problem. Who's there?
Let me tell you why. I'm saying it's a process. It was set up by them because they are still a board.
No, they're not.
They are still a board.
They are not. No, they are not. They are not.
That's fine. You'll tell them. You'll tell them on the 26th. I'll be there to witness. Okay. But all I'm saying, according to the rules currently. Okay, Kachen, we had a meeting in December. They were presiding over that meeting. So how are they not the board now? When did they stop being the board?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you that I'm answering you.
You answer. I don't.
Let me answer.
Yeah, you'll answer.
No, let me answer.
No. Let me answer now. No, hold your breath. Why?
Let him answer, because something else is gonna come up.
Let me answer. No, Miss Mazwai. Then I'm gonna stand up and go. I must answer. I must answer. Okay, right. On the 11th, Disruptor, we questioned the status of the meeting. What is this meeting that they call the member meeting? We argued, and the meeting was declared as imbizo, just a call of people talking, and it's not formal. Mayegi, so the chairperson said so on the 11th. So whatever that was discussed there, Amapopai.
Okay,
On the 12th.
Who's calling the meeting? Who's calling the meeting on the 26th?
No, then disruptor. Miss Mazwai, please listen carefully, because if I'm talking what happened on the 11th, you were there. That meeting was declared by the chairperson, regardless of who called it, whatever. The chairperson that day decides whether things go on or not. And he declared that meeting as imbizo, which means it's just a joke. It's just people gathering together, talking nonsense. 11. 12. Yeah, in English, I can say is the talk shop. In Zulu is imbizo. On the 12th, the meeting collapsed. On the 12th. I've got a video of Nom Samazwai that I will share. On the 12th, in the podium, she took over and said, this meeting has collapsed. I'm going to share it with you. So 11 and 12 does not exist, my brother. I've got the proof.
Okay, I was there.
Even Lutuli stood up. Stood up. I've got a video of Lutuli on the 12th saying the same thing, that the meeting has collapsed.
Okay, Asbonge Kacheni, you are 100%. I agree with you. On about the 11th, it was an imbizo. It was clear. Remember, it was a discussion. On the 12th, it was actually a duly constituted AGM. It was a duly constituted AGM.
That collapsed. It didn't end.
So all I'm saying is that I was asking that question for a reason that we are going to a meeting. Are you coming on the 26th, Kachin?
On the 26th, I am bringing 12 taxis. 12 taxis. Okay. 12 taxis. 15-seater.
Okay, but why are you coming?
Why I'm coming is because of there's a call that has been made by Samro, and I'm going to tell them that now that the call has been made, you are illegal, and I'll be there to make sure that we're voting. I'm voting for the MOI. I'm voting for the interim board. I'm voting for Terry Tsilane to talk. That's why I'm bringing the people. I'm bringing 12 buses.
Right there, Kacheni, Mamela, there's a contradiction. Because of this so-called illegal board that doesn't exist, calls a meeting on the 26th. You are coming to want to input on the agenda. So clearly you are actually acknowledging and recognizing that, number one, they've called the meeting. So you shouldn't be there if you don't recognize them.
Let me tell you. Let me answer you, Disruptor. let me answer you. Remember, Disruptor, I like what you say, Disruptor. Remember, we went to Samro, we were locked out. They locked us out. They've got gates, they've got security. This time, the auditorium will be opened. That's why we are coming, because of we know remember, we asked to hold a press conference, they locked us out. So I'm going there because of it will be opened. That's the reason. Yeah. Not because of they will be open and not going to be arrested.
Yeah, I'm just cautioning you.
And number two, the Companies Act forces them to do this calling. It's not the MOI. Yeah, it's a Companies Act. They are forced by the Companies Act to call. So I'm following that. The MOI is packed.
Okay, no, that's fine. No, but that's fine. All I'm saying is that we are going to a meeting called by this very board for a discussion.
We are following the Companies Act forces them to call it. They don't have a choice. Let me tell you what it says. The Companies Act says the meeting must be held every 12 months. I'm not talking MOI, Companies Act. The meetings must be held every 12 months. If the meeting collapses on that 12th month, they've got 3 months. Listen carefully. They've got 3 months after that to hold the meeting, Companies Act, which totalizes to what? 15 months. Now, the last meeting that was held by Samro was on the 5th of December, 2024. The 2024. Now, on the 6th of March, that's why I'm saying that board is legal. 6th of March, they ended their terms. They are sitting there illegal. So as we speak, they're not even all of them, including Dan. Their term has ended legally by Companies Act. Yes.
No, you are very livid, and understandably so. But some of us, we've allowed ourselves to cool down a bit.
I'm exercising the point. Come, disruptor, yes.
Look, here's the thing. We can't have a vacuum. There has to be a leadership at Samro. And yes, if we want to remove it, let's use process and remove it at an AGM.
And the process is H. No. Disruptor. Let me make it clear. And you can quote now. Let's not mislead the public now. As we're talking, you and me now, that board, all of them, they are sitting there illegally through the Companies Act. They have exceeded 15 months. That's why they can't even control that meeting on the 26th illegally. If you've got a lawyer next to you, Ms. Mazwai, write to your lawyer, disrupt write to your lawyer, and get the status quo of that board. Their term ended. They ended the 12 months and the 15 months. So we are doing them the favor by allowing them there in the meeting. That's what we're going to disrupt.
Yeah, okay, Katin. I don't know what the Companies Act says in this matter.
You should have listened. But disruptor, before you continue, disruptor. That is my problem, guys. Let's read and get informed before we come to the public. That's the problem because of we hallucinate.
No, yes. What I'm saying, common sense tells me, common sense and logic tells me, that board cannot just eject itself. Leadership. That's what
it's automatic. It's like
yes, it means if they have overstayed, we must remove them.
Yes,
due process. So
in English, no. Tebza, let me educate you. Tebza, let me help you here. In English, we say it is flat. It's a flushing. It's automatic.
I think. Mamela.
Yeah.
Remember, Uprateri, I think there's a discussion we had, to say, guys, and I think it was a very clever tip and wisdom to say, when you fight, your biggest issue at Samro is governance. But Nani, don't come and flout governance in wanting to disrupt the governance that you don't like, that is not happening. And all I'm saying is that we will go into a very vicious cycle if we remove this board and not following process, and then they come back. Then it means this transformation will never happen. So I'm saying,
we don't. Disruptor. We don't have a responsibility. Disruptor. We don't have a responsibility. Disruptor. We don't have a responsibility of removing a board. The board is non-existing as we speak. Now, what you and me agreeing on is that on the 26th, we will go there. Because of me now, I will never support an MOI that does not have a Tsepo Mashiane because of the counting the MOI that they closed. I will never have an MOI that does not have a Nomsa Mazwai. And you, disruptor, for an example, disruptor, you opened a case against Annabelle at Hillbrook Police Station. There is, and in this board that is coming, the interim, must confirm the investigation task team that Terry talked about, that you will lead. It must be led by you. Why it must be led by Teboko? It's because Teboko already opened the case, and the case are being investigated. So he must lead the task team. We know these people. We're not doing you a favor. I've got a case number. It's 218/06/2025. I know that case by now. Now it's there. It was opened by you. So you're going to lead, you're going to be part of the people that lead investigation. Number two, I open my own cases. I'm going to be part of that investigation with you, disruptor. So we're not doing a favor. Then we've got Tsepo Mashiane and Nomsa Mazwai leading MOI, and then the systems and the governance that Terry will lead. We are going forward. So I'm saying it to you, disruptor. Let's bring the buses. I'm bringing 12. And I'm challenging you, disruptor, to bring another 12. So make sure that we are voting for Teboko to lead investigations. With me, I'm playing my cards open. I even know who I want where, and I'm not shy. So we're gonna do this on the 26th.
Okay, Mtsigi, I don't know how much time we have. I'm able to manage time. How much time do we have?
Yeah, we need to start wrapping up.
Okay, Okay, if we need to start wrapping up, okay, Mina, yes, my spirits and parting shot.
Yes.
All I'm saying, we need a boss Berat again. Mina,
Okay.
It was basically,
All right.
Remember, I'm operating as IP Justice now.
Yes,
but
yes, yes.
I'm part
You
of
have
the
to
movement.
report back. Yeah.
So as part of the movement, Artists United, IP Justice, and all the other stakeholders, including individual Samro members, let's have a boss Berat again before the 26th.
Okay.
And also,
Okay.
I encourage us to even bring those who differ with us.
Yes,
our
I agree.
I agree. You see, my only concern is that I don't want this to be deemed as if it's being personal against certain individualities. Remember, Mina, I still love our CEO to bits. I love her to bits, and she's my sister in Christ, and what has happened to her still hurts me. That is why I took it.
You're talking
myself.
COO. You're talking COO.
Yes, COO.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I love them all as my sisters, but this is why I engaged even the CEO on the issue of the COO. I had a heart to heart, but in our heart to heart, and that was like last year. She said, "My brother, I hear you. However, can we allow due process to take its course?" And I respect that, because of, in as much as I want the COO back now, I must still respect that process. As you know, it's unfolding. It has been unfolding, and there's certain things that we must accept. I think, Katene, you must do that prayer. I would say, God, help me. Give me the serenity to accept things that I can change and those things that I can't. Because of, you see, there are certain things that we must allow to happen, and that is process. But I think I want to have a boss for that because of, and also let's get to assess how many members want this meeting. So because of, we'll find ourselves pitted against one another as members, because of, there will be members who say, no, who the hell are you? We want this meeting. So you can't block this meeting. And then it will be a very sad story where we become even further more divided.
Let me give you a task before our time finishes. You said we want to invite even people that differ with us. I'm giving you now. Please call Ayanda Khoda.
Yes.
Please call Ayanda Khoda. I'm gonna call Sepon Zimande.
All of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Sepon Zimande. You call Ayanda Khoda, and we on.
Yeah, let's have that prosperate because of in conclusion, in conclusion, I mean, again, I declare and I decree we want this meeting as a first step of amending the MOI that has been dogging us for all these years, so that we can take the next step. Let's not collapse the meeting. That's my call. Hallelujah. To
agree with what Tebza is saying, Ms. Mazwai, I want this meeting on the 26th to happen, but only in an interim, because of the board's term has ended. They're sitting there illegally. The 15 months, according to Companies Act, is gone. So we're going to sit there and get few members from the current board of Samro to form the new board of interim. And then we're going to get Tebogo to lead the investigating task team. We're going to get Ziggy to lead an MOI, and I'll be part of the investigation. We are going. Thank you, Danko Nyabo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sigi. Welcome back at Indaba podcast. We missed Umoya.
Thank you. So I'm thinking that next week, before the AGM, we should still gather and check what's happening, everybody who's been working on the Samro thing, and gather again so that people can be more educated.
Let's have a round table after the
I saw that in the comment section, someone was asking who owns Samro. So people need to understand fully what's going on. And just to answer that question, Samro is owned by the members. That's why this is also crazy that these people from outside are coming in.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay. So tell us.
That's a topic for another day, Ms. Mazwai.
Up until we amend the MOI, it's owned by the publishers. It's owned by market share. So hence,
I differ totally with the tapes about it's going to start. Samro is an organization that is membership driven. So the members are the stakeholders and shareholders.
It's supposed to, but the MOI is doing us a huge injustice. Up until we change that MOI, then it will come back to us.
Yes.
The MOI, okay. I
That's
deeper,
a
but yeah,
reality.
we'll meet again this
Separate
after.
fallacy from a reality. That's a reality from a fallacy.
No, it's
That's
true.
what happens when the
need
thugs
to
and
change
criminals
the
are
rules.
running. They put things aside as they wish. So we'll remove them and bring the ones.
Guys, yes, Jane gonna go, and hopefully we'll figure it out. But that's quite a mouthful if it's market share and it's the publishers. That is insane, and that is something for us to go and chew on right now, because that's exactly where the red flag is. And how do we unpack that? Yo, thanks guys for the good session. We'll see which day we do next week. And we all gather and sort this thing out for our future generations.
Thanks to Shapta. Thanks, Miss Mazwai. Thank you.